shall see victory! A great new altered fights at our side!
They asked you to help them. Why didn't you?
My war is with the worst of our kind. They will destroy us all.
I've heard such terrible, terrible things about you. How many of my people did you kill? Just to reach us?
As I walk through the bones, there's a rattle of death. I only got myself to blame. I only got myself to blame.
Well, hello there people, my name is Lucy and welcome back to another Outriders broadcast. Today, I am very excited because we get to finally reveal to you Outriders Worldslayer. Now, we first teased the existence of Worldslayer back in November last year, where we also introduced the free New Horizon update, which saw us add a whole plethora of quality of life improvements and content to the game. And ever since then, we have been hard at work on Outriders Worldslayer. But what exactly is it? Let's get to it, people. Today, I present to you Outriders Worldslayer, the reveal trailer.
There's a reckoning coming. Two paths diverge before you, Outrider. One leads to a new beginning, and the other to pain.
If we don't find a way to stop what's coming, there will be nowhere for us to hide.
You've been fighting for so long that you've lost sight of what is true. There is no saving humanity. Humanity is already dead.
We just had a glimpse into the story of Outriders Worldslayer, introducing new threats like a Reshkagal, the dark altered overlord of the insurgents. You want to know more, don't you? Well, we won't leave you hanging there. In fact, I think I have just the right person for the job. Here is our resident expert on all things Worldslayer, Sven. Take it away.
So you want to know what awaits you in Outriders Worldslayer? Think you're ready? Well, let me tell you, you are not. Here we go! Okay, you've beaten Outriders, called down the drop pods and crushed every expedition to become supercharged demigods, roaming the battlefields of Enoch. But that doesn't mean your Outriders can kick back and relax just yet.
No, I didn't believe it. But the anomaly, it's growing.
In Outriders Worldslayer, we see the anomaly has continued to evolve, rising to the challenge that you, the Outriders, have presented. Frost storms and blizzards now ravage the land at a speed that even Enoch's hyper-evolved monstrosities struggle to adapt to. And as if this wasn't bad enough, Reshkagal, the commander of the human insurgent faction, has her own designs in mind for the future of humanity on Enoch.
It gets better every day.
Against impossible odds, the Outrider will have to push themselves to their limits to help Enoch see another day. If you want humanity to survive this frozen onslaught, you will need to travel to some of the furthest reaches of Enoch. New lands, of course, also bring new horrors. And Outriders Worldslayer doesn't just introduce new enemy variants, it adds entirely new adversaries. These all formulate a pretty scary gang of beasts and bosses, who are very eager to say hello. Unsure if your current gear will be good enough for these adventures? Yeah, well, it isn't, but not to worry. Outriders Worldslayer adds a bunch of new loot for you to hunt down, including badass weaponry as well as class-specific and universal legendary armor sets. More on that topic a bit later. For now, let's have a look at our biggest new features. The packs drew strength from the anomaly in their own way. By exploring their past, you too will be able to unlock a secondary skill tree, which adds 2 more subclass branches for each of the original classes. Points for these new pack class trees unlock after completing significant events in Outriders Worldslayer. But even a new skill tree won't be enough to reach the highest echelons of difficulty. As an altered, you will still need to ascend. Ascension is the new long-term progression system introduced in Outriders Worldslayer. Step by step, it will allow you to improve your endurance, your brutality, your prowess, and even the anomaly power itself. With up to 200 ascension points to unlock, continued ascension progress will be a constant companion in Outriders Worldslayer, even over hundreds of hours of play. Sound good? Of course it does, but we're not done yet. Outriders Worldslayer introduces Apocalypse tiers, which will be replacing challenge tiers, even when playing expeditions. Apocalypse tiers will be active across all Worldslayer content, and will go up to level 40. That means a new higher level cap of level 75 gear too. Speaking of gear, Apocalypse tiers also introduce Apocalypse gear. A third mod slot will propel your gear to its most destructive form yet. And in combination with the many new and brutal mods coming with Worldslayer, well, let's just say you'll be able to bring some unseen crazy firepower to the table. Whew, that's already a lot to take in. Throughout the Outriders Worldslayer campaign, you'll already have your hands full of dealing with Ereshkigal and her minions. However, if you do manage to get past her, well, the true endgame still awaits. The Trial of Taria Kratar. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. That, my friends, is the tale for another spotlight.
Now, you've seen just some of what Worldslayer has in store for you, and we are really excited for you to finally experience the next step in the Outriders universe. It brings a brand new campaign where you go toe-to-toe with the powerful, altered Ereshkigal. We're extending the world tier system, and these are now called Apocalypse tiers and go all the way up to level 40. Here, you'll find new weapons and gear with a third mod slot, and we call this Apocalypse Gear. And there will be new mods for you to find and equip, such as Omen and Noxious Spawns. Happy hunting! You'll also be able to develop your power through the patch trees, which allow you to boost and further diversify all 4 of your classes. And if all that wasn't enough, the Trial of Taria Kratar, our new endgame, combined with the new Ascension system, will push even the most experienced Outriders to their limits and beyond. To close out today's show, we're going to bring on our community maestro, Robbie, to preemptively answer any of the burning questions we expect you to have about Worldslayer. Is he a cartoon or is he a real human? Who knows? But here he is!
Thanks, Lucy, and hello, everyone. In this community section, we're going to go over some of the final points in Worldslayer. So without further delay, let's just jump right in. We've built Worldslayer for both existing players and new players alike. The original game with all of our updates, improvements and new Horizon content is also included with Worldslayer. The new Worldslayer campaign picks up right after the end of the original, and if you want to, you'll be able to start Worldslayer with a completely fresh character that has been boosted to level 30, so you won't be lagging behind your friends if you are a newbie and they're hardened veterans. And don't fret about skipping ahead to Worldslayer, you'll be able to still progress through Worldslayer first and then jump back into the original game's content. So if you're a complete newbie and you pick up Worldslayer, you'll have everything included. But what about existing players? Well, if you're a returning Outriders player, then firstly, welcome back. Secondly, we've got you covered too, with the Worldslayer upgrade option. If you buy the upgrade option on the same platform you purchased Outriders on, all Worldslayer content will be seamlessly integrated into your base game. Your characters and all your progress, armor, weaponry will be waiting right there for you when you face the new trials ahead. Of course, there will always be questions about the length of content, and Worldslayer was developed with having a long-term progression system in mind. The main campaign in Worldslayer will get you back into the swing of things, but every true looter shooter fan knows it's the end game and the loot hunt where you'll be investing the lion's share of your hours. Of course, throughout all of this, you'll be pushing your Apocalypse tiers as well as your Ascension tiers ever higher, keeping the game challenging whilst also min-maxing your characters to the nth degree. To that end, we expect the search for new legendary gear and sets, and especially the hunt for Apocalypse variants of said gear, to keep you very engaged for a very long time. Oh, and one last thing before you go. We know the wait for the game is never fun, so if you pre-order either Worldslayer or the Worldslayer upgrade digitally, you will get 48 hours early access to the new mysteries that await. We hope that answers a lot of your burning questions on Worldslayer that you may have. Be sure to send your follow-up questions to the official Outriders social channels and give us a follow for the latest news on Outriders. We are so excited for you to all jump into Worldslayer on June 30th. Back to you, Lucy.
Thank you, Robbie. Now, with the release of Outriders Worldslayer coming at the end of June, pre-orders are live now. And for you newcomers, if you pre-order Outriders Worldslayer digitally, you will of course get access to Outriders the base game straight away. So you can start now and get ready for Worldslayer. Don't worry, June will be here quicker than you think. Time is flying. And that about summarizes it for today's broadcast. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. It has been a pleasure as always. And do join us for the next broadcast where we deep dive into the brand new Worldslayer endgame, the Trial of Taya Gritta. Bye-bye for now.
Hello everyone, Stella Chung here, and welcome to a very special interview today with Łukasz Osinski, the Associate Lead Balance Designer for Outriders Worldslayer. Welcome!
Hello, nice to meet you all.
So I'm so excited to have you here today to talk about the Worldslayer Showcase, which we saw there's a release date for June 30th. I know it's a long ways away, but I'm so excited to talk to you about this. So Worldslayer brings in a new campaign. What will this be focusing around?
So we're focusing on the further story, on new and old mysteries of Enoch, on a new enemy that is called Arashkigel, a very powerful altered that will be the focal character of the campaign, and on all the alien character of the new planet. We would like to let the players get the closure to the story, at least for this chapter. We'd like to introduce them to the new enemy, the Arashkigel, who is a very powerful altered. We wanted to give the players someone to aim the gun at, as the primary and base story of the Outriders did not provide that very well. Further that, we would like to explore the alien and different world that the Enoch allows us to present.
And what can you tell us about these new areas that Worldslayer brings in?
All of the new areas are centered around the back's history and the mystery there, and all of them are quite beautiful.
How many new bosses are there for Worldslayer?
There's a selection of new bosses, quite a few I would say. You're gonna meet some of them during the campaign, some of them you're gonna meet during the endgame that we'll be presenting to the players quite soon.
So, how long was Worldslayer in development for?
When we released the vanilla game, we felt that there is still a story to be said, there's still ideas that we have and we would like to improve upon. Some of those things we were able to do in the New Horizon, the free expansion that helped us develop the project further and present the players with new expeditions. And while we were working on that, obviously we're playing all the time with it. Playing with the game, playing with the bosses, with the environments, with all the mechanics that have been invented and improved upon. And we thought like, okay, what else can we do to make the adventure more enjoyable? I would say that the last year has been really fruitful with all those ideas coming to shape and being incorporated.
So, with this new expansion, how did the new subclass branches synergize with each other and also with the base classes?
That's a good question. When we played the game after it has been released, we were able to pinpoint some things like, I would really like this class, for example, the Trickster, to have more survivability. It is a bit of a glass cannon. What can we do with that? What are the pain points do you have when playing the class? Or why don't we have a pyromancer that can work on pyro on the burn status alone? Come on, there's things we can do there. So with all those ideas and all those inspirations, we went into crafting the branches, and the nodes that answer a question: what else can we do? How can we make it more exciting? How can we give the player more ways to first build up on their character fantasy, but also more tools to survive and fight with all the creatures and enemies of Enoch?
What is your ideal 3-team loadout? Like, the best classes that synergize with each other. Like, you're going to go into Worldslayer, what would you want your team to look like?
Well, I prefer the high DPS solution, so I would be going with Trickster, with the Pyro, and just a bit of support with debuffs from Technomancer. Don't get me wrong, I love my Devastator, but if you're asking me about the best clearing speed, yeah, that will do it for me.
Now there is I think there's a new leveling system called Ascension, right? So can you max out everything in Ascension?
Yes, you can max everything out in Ascension. The system is designed to reward all the people who have sunk hundreds of hours into the game. There have been quite a few people who enjoy our combat loop and the whole systems of leveling, changing out gear and hunting for the legendaries. So we thought there would be something for them even if they gathered everything and reached the end of the new Apocalypse tiers. There's 200 points to get all together. They are divided into 4 branches, so there's quite a few ways to up your game and improve your power there.
How long would you say it would take to level out one branch?
That's a difficult question to answer. I would say something like 40-50 hours, but we are still in the balancing phase of that, so it will vary from player to player. It will vary also because it is hooked together with the Apocalypse tier system. Apocalypse tiers is the new difficulty system. It is replacing the challenge tiers that have been available since April for the vanilla game. The system has 40 levels. It will pick up where you left off your character. So if you were on challenge tier 15, it will do just that and allow you to continue your adventure. The idea there is to give the players a lot more room to level. Some people have been really looking forward to a bigger challenge. The higher you are on the Apocalypse tiers, the faster XP you're getting. So if you're really pushing the tiers, you're gonna get to you're gonna fill out the first branch much earlier than someone who is just playing for their personal enjoyment. There are a lot of modifiers hidden within there, making the game more rewarding and more challenging as you go along. The further you get, the more experience you're getting, the better loot you're getting, the better are your chances for getting the elite tier 3 mods on your Apocalypse gear. The Apocalypse gear, which I'm going to jump to then, is the new rarity of the items available for epics and legendaries, and it gives the players just what they asked for, so the third slot. And that slot, the further you get into the upper tiers, the better the chances of getting really good, really powerful mods on that third slot. It cannot be modified, so you will want to get the perfect item, and you will have the chance to engage with all your drops and enjoy them.
Awesome, thank you. So there is a new level cap in Worldslayer. Is this something that will be looked at and maybe adjusted in the future just to help maintain freshness within leveling in the community?
The new level cap comes from Apocalypse tiers. It maxes out at level 75 gear. You will be able to progress your character via the ascension points and the PAX tree, which you will get points into during the campaign and during your regular playthrough of the Trials of Tyria Gratar.
I know we touched on this a little bit, but how does Worldslayer balance the new grind to level cap and gather loot without making it too difficult or easy to breeze through the new levels?
Okay, the new difficulties are starting off low and very slow for the new players. They will be gaining speed and challenge as you go further along. The system is dynamic, as it was for the Outriders. So if you at any moment feel that the game is too difficult, you can just reduce the world tier. Also, the Ascension system is connected to that. Because the Ascension experience is growing every time you are adventuring or doing anything in Outriders, you will slowly get the boosts and points to fill up the tree and gain more power to make the game slightly easier the further you go in. Obviously, you can always up the difficulty system whenever you feel like it to make it balanced out. I personally would advise taking some friends along the way if you're feeling that the game is becoming too difficult, as it's always more fun to enjoy the enemies exploding with a friend.
What is your favorite gun to be introduced to Worldslayer?
Wow. That's a difficult question, as I love them all. The latest toy I've been most enjoying is a rapid fire sniper rifle that leaves Whirlwind of Blades, the place where it hits the enemies. It's lovely for producing choke points and clearing out huge numbers of enemies if they are in a nice choke point.
Okay, I have not found that yet. That sounds awesome. Can you expand on how we can get the new armor sets? I know we saw a little bit in the trailer and they look really cool. So how can we obtain all of those?
All of those are available in basically in any activity that you do in the game. If you prefer to go into the campaign and go and enjoy your time there, it's possible. With the new Apocalypse tier system, you'll be able to also enjoy the vanilla campaign along the way, if this is your preference, if you want to refresh your adventure. You can do the new endgame activity, the Trials of Tyria Gratar, that I'm forbidden to talk more about today. You can also check out the expeditions. The Tiago store will rotate in the new legendary items if you would like to see them there. But obviously the most powerful version of those are Apocalypse varieties, so you will need to look for those, and those only drop at a high Apocalypse tier.
So when can we hear more about this new Trials endgame mode?
Okay, so you will be hearing more about the Trials of Tyria Gratar with second broadcast later this summer. I'm sure that we're preparing something special for that broadcast.
Okay, so based off of everything that we've talked about today about Worldslayer, what is your favorite thing that you were able to work on with Worldslayer?
definitely the new bosses. The new enemies are providing a new level of presence on the battlefield. They change the way the fights are enjoyed. They need to be taken apart very often. You could really see how the combat design team and also balance team have gained experience from the New Horizon and inspiration. So we were able to explore some of the boss mechanics. We were able to explore some of the more wacky elites on the battlefield, and a lot of them tie into the new campaign story. So they are in the right place at the right time, and they are making the story both more awesome and more challenging to fight through.
Yeah, and you mentioned taking things that you learned from New Horizons. So would you say, what is something that you heard from the community that was taken into consideration with developing Worldslayer?
Safe Say is the third mod slot that was widely regarded as something that the community would really enjoy. I would say that the different flow of the battles, we've seen how much more the new expeditions have been cheered upon, and we know that they are simply better, both in the enemy composition and the flow and the encounters themselves. Definitely more boss fights. A lot of people enjoyed the spider in the depths and some of the shamans in the new content, in the New Horizon content. So those are all the things that we looked upon from the community and thought, all right, yeah, we can work with that. The new progression system is also something that has been inspired by the people who have spent hundreds of hours. During the demo, we had some people who put in, I don't know, 60 or 70 hours in 2-hour content. So we're like, that's nice dedication. Kudos to you guys and gals. I think those are the main inspirations.
All right, well, awesome. Thank you so much for providing us some insight on Worldslayer. I'm very excited to see the next broadcast later this summer. Be sure to keep an eye out for that. And for more Outriders Worldslayer news, be sure to keep it here at IGN.
Bye.